Go. So I think we have the recording engaged, and as well, welcome everyone to the virtual launch of the Six Nations Bingo Solar Energy Project. My name is Daryl Hill. I am the acting director of corporate affairs here at the Six Nations of the Grand River Development Corporation. I will be your MC today. Speaking today will be Matt Jameson from Six Nations of the Grand River Development Corporation, Member of Parliament Pam Damoff, and as well as Terry Young from the Independent Electricity System Operator. I would also like to acknowledge Councillor Sherilyn Hill Pierce from Six Nations of the Grand River and Brooke Hayward from Brant Renewable Energy, who are also joining us today. Okay, so to get things started off, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, CEO and President of the Six Nations of the Grand River Development Corporation, Matt Jameson. Take it away, Matt.
Great, thanks, Daryl. So very happy to be here today to participate in this funding announcement. The announcement itself is a culmination of lots of hard work, planning, and ultimately a demonstration of a commitment towards a more responsible future. So I'm pleased to be joined by Pam Damoff, the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Indigenous Services, Terry Young, as you had mentioned, who is the acting CEO of the IESO. And I would also like to acknowledge Councillor Sherilyn Hill Pierce for joining us today. I believe that this project is one of a kind in Canada, and there's a couple of reasons why. Firstly, it's unique because it's brought together progressive initiatives and programs from both the federal and the provincial governments. But secondly, it also has brought to light a long-standing collaboration that Six Nations has had with the County of Brant. And in fact, in 2010, Six Nations and the County of Brant entered into the Green Energy Accord. And that Green Energy Accord has allowed these two communities here to work together to build, once this project is completed, almost 1 megawatt of just rooftop solar projects. In fact, this particular project is being led by Brant Renewable Energy, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Brant County. So from a first of a kind standpoint, what you have is you have the federal government collaborating with the provincial government. You have an Indigenous community collaborating with the municipal government, all to give rise to an innovative solution that embraces a cleaner future for our future generations. Something I think that really is one of a kind in the country. And I'm very, very proud to have a team to work towards this goal. This is not our first entry from Six Nations into the renewable energy space. In 2009, Six Nations was an early adopter of renewable energy, largely because the industry itself closely aligns with our community values. And the benefits are really, really aligned with what we're trying to achieve as a society. Under the leadership of the Six Nations Elected Council and the Development Corporation Board of Directors, our community has become one of the largest Indigenous renewable energy investors in the country. Right now, we have a portfolio of almost 1,000 megawatts of renewable energy, spreading in vast regions across southwestern Ontario, and we're very, very proud of that accomplishment. From a solar perspective, with this new development, once this is complete, we're very proud to say that we will have effectively 640,000 individual solar panels working for the benefit of our community and working towards a cleaner economy. 640,000 individual solar panels, I think, is quite an accomplishment. Ultimately, it boils down to we're doing our part. We are seeking ways to disrupt the status quo to reduce carbon emissions. We're seeking ways to unlock innovative solutions. We're pursuing energy conservation, and we're taking steps to maximize the utility of the systems that we already have so that we don't have to go and build more. Really, it's an exercise in responsibility, and it's our commitment to the next 7 generations to continue on this path. For this particular project, the installation of 214 kilowatts of net metering will enable us to harvest the energy on location and utilize that power to directly power our operation. Essentially, what it's doing is converting an idle rooftop into an energy solution that will ultimately create cost savings for us and positively impact the environment. We're excited to showcase this installation on Six Nations Bingo, which attracts greater than 200,000 visitors a year to our community. And so I think that's a very powerful statement, not only to our customers, but to our community. As with any business, energy cost savings can positively impact the bottom line. And with the recent impact of COVID-19, now more than ever, these types of savings are important. Over the next 20 years, we estimate these cost savings will generate up to $1 million in savings for the bingo operation. And this is important for us for a multitude of reasons. We do have a multiple bottom line as a development corporation for the community. The profits from our bingo operation, which will be enhanced by this project, are split between a bingo charity, which funds youth and minor sports, and also funds an economic development trust, which funnels funds back into our community to meet the needs of our community for today and the days to come. The Economic Development Trust has purchased things like fire trucks, put in water infrastructure, and provided services for elder care. We're very proud of having that capability. Of course, the icing on the cake is the net positive economic impact from this installation. So that, together with $500,000 of collective funding from the federal government and Ontario's electricity systems operator, it's clear to us that we have partners in our pursuit of a more responsible, sustainable, and clean future. With that, I'd like to say thank you to the Government of Canada, the Low Carbon Economy Fund, the IESO, the Indigenous Energy Projects Program, Brant Renewable Energy in particular, Brooke Hayward, who's on the call with us today, Daryl Hill, and our projects team here at the Development Corporation. Thank the Six Nations Council, the community, and our board of directors for providing the leadership and the pathway forward to get to where we are today. Thank you very much. And I think I'll pass it over now to Pam.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, and to everyone for including me here today. I'm glad we're able to connect from home. I sure wish we were at Six Nations at the Bingo Hall making this announcement today, but unfortunately we can't. So I just want to start by acknowledging that today I'm speaking to you from my home, which is on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. And as someone who lives and works in the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples, I recognize my responsibility in acknowledging their perspectives and listening to the advocacy of their interests. Chi-miigwech for inviting me to join you here today. I also want to recognize what a challenging year all of us have had. Our government's #1 priority remains protecting the health and safety of all Canadians and supporting families and businesses through the pandemic. Sherry Lynn, if you could pass on to your council and leadership that I'd just like to commend you on the good work that you've done here at Six Nations in managing the pandemic and really supporting your community. As the vaccine rollout begins, we must remember to keep following public health protocols, but we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Our government continues to work with all partners, including provinces and territories, to ensure cultural safety and respect for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis as they plan for the COVID-19 vaccine. And as we look towards recovery, it's clear we can't have a credible plan for the economy without also having a credible plan for the environment. Just as science is guiding us in our response to the pandemic, science will continue to guide us to reduce pollution and fight climate change. There's no better time than now to protect the health of Canadians and position recovery towards clean growth. The climate change crisis hasn't disappeared because of the pandemic. It's only highlighted the need for us to increase our ambition to do better. Climate change is the existential crisis of our time, but it's also our greatest opportunity. And that's why our government recently announced our strengthened climate plan to ensure that Canada seizes the economic opportunity that climate action presents, ensuring that Canada attracts investment and creates good jobs now and into the future. Our plan focuses on people from every sector of the economy and from every region of the country. It invests in communities, and that's what today's announcement is all about. So I'm excited to announce an investment of $349,000 from the Low Carbon Economy Fund to support Six Nations of the Grand River Development Corporation's project. As you mentioned, the funding will support a 214 kilowatts solar panel project, which will capture solar power to generate electricity, but also reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Once it's installed at the Bingo Hall, the facility will become a net zero carbon building. The Six Nations of the Grand River Development Corp is a leader in generating economic development for the community, and it's example for all nations. I know that this isn't your first solar installation, and it's local leadership like this that will help Canada achieve its own net zero goal by 2050. You were mentioning the number of levels of government that have worked together to see this project happen, and quite frankly, sometimes when you get that many levels of government, things get stalled. So it's really, really, as you mentioned, unique and a model for the rest of the country, the way that you have all worked together to see this project happen. And I commend each one of you for your hard work. From coast to coast to coast, Indigenous communities are on the front lines of climate change. We'll continue to support First Nations projects which help communities reduce their impact on the environment and protect the land they love. We know that we must emerge from the pandemic stronger and more resilient. So let's keep moving forward together. Let's continue building a healthier, safer, and more prosperous future for your kids and mine. I want to congratulate everyone involved. I look forward to visiting the project when we're able to do so, and keep up the great work. Thank you. Merci, miigwech.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you. That was a member of Parliament for Oakville North Burlington and Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Indigenous Services, Pam Damoff. Thank you for those thoughtful words, Pam. Up next, we have the interim president and CEO of the Independent Electricity System Operator, Terry Young. Take it away, Terry.
Thanks very much. I want to begin just by saying what a pleasure, what an honor it is to be here to recognize this project. You know, it's I want to congratulate everyone involved, particularly Matt Jameson and his team at the Six Nations of the Grand River Development Corporation. You know, it's a great example of community-led innovation. It's also a great example of the partnerships that can and that do exist. And, you know, when I think of the partnership between the federal, the provincial, the community level, you know, the priorities that are there and how we've been able to connect those and benefit this community, and in fact, benefit the electricity sector, which the IESO manages the reliability of the power system across the province. You know, in my time at the IESO, I've having been in charge of the Indigenous Relations function at the IESO and now as interim president, you know, I've spent a lot of time in Indigenous communities across the province. I grew up in Brantford, so I'm not far from this community. Through my grandmother, I'm a member of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte. And so, but at my time at the IESO, I've spent a lot of time just engaging with communities. And so I, you know, understand goals and ambitions, certainly energy priorities. You know, I think with respect to the IESO, we have a lot of experience in developing these relationships. And as I look at what's happening in the sector now and the opportunities that are presenting themselves, we are transforming. You know, we are certainly well aware of the potential for communities like Six Nations community to contribute, not just to meeting their own needs, but to helping us meet the broader needs across the province. And it's certainly where our involvement comes in. And we have a suite of Indigenous energy support programs that really are geared to supporting capacity building in the communities. And we launched these programs 10 years ago. And since that time, we've signed almost 700 funding agreements worth just over $52 million. So we've made a significant investment, and we're seeing that investment pay off through announcements like today. Our funds have enabled Indigenous communities and organizations to invest in energy planning, renewable generation, transmission projects, conservation. We certainly, through some of the communities that that we've been engaged in, we've seen these communities become so much more energy efficient. And through this project, we've committed $200,000 to the solar net metering project. We know that of the experience that Six Nations has. And certainly when we looked at this project, we were impressed by the level of community involvement, by the linkage with the community energy plan, and the leadership role that the local community energy champion played in developing this project and moving along. You know, Matt has talked certainly about the many community benefits that are here. We're certainly seeing it from energy savings. We understand that the ability to this project will contribute to helping manage energy costs, but at a provincial level as well, we're seeing the impact of projects like this. You know, that when you add all of this together and you see the contribution that's being made, you know, together, working together, that we're helping to, you know, prepare for that tomorrow's energy future. So really excited to be here today. Again, I would close by congratulating everyone on the project. We wish you every success, and thanks for the opportunity to be part of not just this announcement, but this project. And as I said to Matt earlier, can't wait for this pandemic to end so I can come down and see the community and see where the gains that are being made in the community, and in particular in this project. So again, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Terry, for those informative words from the IESO. I too look forward to meeting yourself and Pam in person, hopefully here when the project's complete. At this time, I guess I would like to personally thank everyone involved with this project, working with both government. There's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of back and forth from all parties, and it's been a pleasure working with everyone. And I guess with that, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today, and especially the three speakers. And with that, that concludes our program for the day. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me directly via email. So thank you all once again, and have a great, safe day. Take care. Bye.